Hey everybody, welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery. This time in a little bite-sized chunk or something. What are we calling them, DJ?
Either brain bites or brainstorm bites or
Brainbite
bite
is a
storm
magic card.
brains.
Yeah, Brainbite's a magic card at least. Anyway, so there was actually, for those who are watching this, there was a little mishap in the first recording where we brainstormed. We spent like 2 minutes brainstorming some really bad names for this. And this is what we came up with, so it obviously didn't go very well. But what we're going to do here today is the idea is to spend a shorter time talking about some specific Magic Finance topics that don't make into the podcast. In this case, DJ and I are here to talk to you about Iconic Masters. So Iconic Masters comes out this week. The allotment is going to be much larger than we saw with something like Modern Masters 1 or maybe even Eternal Masters. It's going to be more like Modern Masters 3. There's going to be a lot of it. And obviously there's some very pricey cards. The EV of a box right now is, I think, around $300, which is pretty expensive for what it is. And we're going to talk to you just with the cards at the top end and see what we think. So, DJ, just on average, what do you think about this set? And what do you think the prices are going to do with where it's at right now?
I mean, I do think it's a really good set, but I also think that all of the prices plummet from here for the most part. Like Mana Drain hits like 50, maybe 60 if we're lucky a month in at peak supply. Horizon Canopy is like $10, $15. Flusterstorm maybe hits 20.
Okay, so these are some pretty so people know Mana Drain's $100 pre-order. Horizon Canopy is $42. Flusterstorm is $37. These are the TCG median prices as of today. Those are some big drops, DJ. What do you think why do you think we're gonna see such a big drop from the pre-order price?
Well, I mean, for the three cards I just mentioned, all of their prices are predicated on a really low supply, not exactly super high demand. So,
Right.
Mana Drain existed as a Judge promo and as a Ancient Legends card. Horizon Canopy has had one printing from Future Sight, and then it had an Expedition rarity, and then Flusterstorm again had the original Commander print, and then the Judge promo. So like all of those cards, they see a little bit of play here and there, but none of their prices are based on being like a 4 of in a modern format or anything like that.
Yeah, and it's really telling that those are the three most expensive cards in the set. And unlike Tarmogoyf or something from all the Modern Masters, they don't have this baseline of play that gets them there. I mean, Mana Drain is just not even really a thing, right? It's a vintage card, and it's just kind of it is in fact an iconic Magic card. But Horizon Canopy, just a value card in Modern and Legacy, nothing like to write home about. And Flusterstorm is a really strong Legacy and vintage card. But those formats don't necessarily drive prices, and we've seen Flusterstorm was at $90 before this reprinting came out. So what do you attribute some of those prices to? You know, you're talking about them dropping a long way because, of course, the value's got to go somewhere. But what is it about those cards in particular? You know, let's talk about Flusterstorm here. What is it about Flusterstorm that's going to make it drop that much? I mean, even with a reprint, seeing cards go from 90 to 20 is a tall order.
Yeah, I mean, Flusterstorm in particular is an interesting case because it's pretty much only a Legacy card in Vintage, I mean. But a lot of the copies that we've seen opened over the past 7 or 8 years or so since Commander 2011, a lot of those have shifted over to Japan and gotten taken advantage of by arbitrage between the US and Japan, because Japan has less of a casual gaming scene. Magic's a lot more competitive over there, and you can see that reflected in prices. Stuff like Chromatic Lantern and Soul Ring are cheaper in Japan,
Right.
and stuff like Blood Moon, Thoughtseize, Vraska, standard staples, modern staples, legacy staples, that stuff's way more expensive over there. So there are arbitrage opportunities to take super expensive legacy and modern cards, buy them cheap in America, and then ship them over to Japan. And once those Flusterstorms go over to Japan, there's no real reason or way to get them back. So the supply of Flusterstorm is a lot smaller than it seems, just because a lot of them have been shipped overseas.
Right, and that's really interesting, you know, because it feels weird to people. One, it's $37 out, and you think, man, that's less than half of the original. It's got to be good. But we're thinking it's going to go even lower because, like we mentioned in the open, the EV of one of these boxes right now is very high, and it's much higher than the cost, which is we've seen them. How low have you seen these boxes going, DJ?
I mean, I can say that my buy right now as a vendor is I can get them for $140 or so.
Wow. So yeah, the dealer cost is $140. We've seen them as low as $170, maybe even $160 online.
Yeah, Kid Icarus did a Facebook flash sale recently where he was selling boxes of Iconic Masters at $160 shipped.
Yeah, that's they're definitely going the way of Modern Masters 3 here and printing the heck out of it. So the next couple cards we're going to talk about, though, do have some play backing them up, and that's Ether Vial, Cryptic Command, Ancestral Vision, which clock in at 35, 24, and 24 on their TCG medium prices. So do we think we see the same thing out of these? This is probably, we've seen reprints from those cards, right? Cryptic Command was in Modern Masters and Modern Masters 2015. It's coming here with new art. Ancestral Vision was in a couple dual decks. Again, getting new art in this set, and it was in Time Spiral. And then Ether Vial, of course, was in, an uncommon and Dark Steel, but then from the Vault, Masterpiece, Modern Masters, and Stayed Expensive. Do you think do we see as much of a drop in those, or do we think that 2 months from now, Ether Vial may be more expensive than Flusterstorm?
I definitely agree with the fact that 2 months from now, Vial is more expensive than Flusterstorm.
Okay.
Part of the reason for that is all of these cards that we're talking about, these next three, Vial, Cryptic, and Visions, all of these cards have players waiting for the right time to buy in. Nobody's... there's a few people who are waiting for the right time to buy in a Flusterstorm, but a lot of those players have already looked at the price drop and gone, wow, this went from 90 to 30, now's my buy-in.
Yeah.
But a lot of these modern players are saying, okay, Cryptic was 25, 30 before the reprint, now I'm waiting for it to hit 15. And I don't think that's going to happen because players will start pulling the triggers sooner than that happens. So Vial's not going to go from 35 to 17. It's not going to get cut in half overnight because as it goes from 35, 34, 33, 30, players are going to start pulling the trigger and say, okay, I wanted to buy it at 40, I can buy it at 30, now's my set. And that's when we start seeing that floor for the actual four of modern staples.
Right, okay. And we're seeing Vision, by the way, just fall off a cliff. The original one was $55 just like
well, that was
3 months ago.
Right after an unbanning, though.
Well, that's the jump. That was the jump back in like 2016 or whatever. It's been unbanned for a long time.
That was off of that one card from Almancat, As Foretold.
As Foretold bumped it a little bit, but even before that, it was $50.
Really?
Yeah. Like, it jumped to 45 right after the unbanning, and then it just kind of hung out around there and actually crept up to 50. And then, when Amonkhet came out, it went up to 60 for a minute. But right now, it's under 30, well under 30. So it's getting cool new art, but this thing is falling off a cliff. But I can see it stabilizing.
I think it stays at 20. I don't think it goes below 20, and if it does, it doesn't stay there for long.
Okay.
This is a card that people love to tinker with in Modern, just because that type of player is pretty popular.
Yeah, and also we were talking on the podcast last week. If there's a Modern card to get unbanned, we think it might be Bloodbraid Elf. That'd be pretty good with Ancestral Vision. Just saying. Don't know. Just saying. All right. Let's move on. After that, we have one that I think falls squarely into that Horizon Canopy camp, which is Grove of the Burn Willows. It used to be expensive because it's kind of the Tron land, but now it's not even the Tron land really, because the Tron decks aren't necessarily Red Green Turbo Tron. Eldrazi Tron's the most popular, but after that it's like Green Black Tron that plays Fatal Pushes and stuff. So I think the floor on Grove of the Burn Willows is going to be low.
Oh, absolutely.
This card was $75 at its peak last year.
Yeah, it's not gonna be anywhere near that.
Yeah.
This
it's
is
like
another
$10,
one that gets
right?
probably cut in half. You can pre-order them for 18, but nobody's chopping at the bit to wait to buy in their playset. It's just like we said with Mana Drain and Flusterstorm. Nobody who doesn't already have their set is waiting to buy them now.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, most of the people who open them are just cracking them, selling them, trading them.
Yeah, this is gonna be
for
like
cards like Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
Because Thoughtseize is next on the list, and it's got its good old school art. But this is one that people aren't going to wait too long before they start buying in. This isn't a situation where Thoughtseize gets cut from 18 to 10. This is a situation where Thoughtseize is going to be one of the most stable rares in the set. It's not going to take a huge hit, just because it's sees demand everywhere.
Right, yeah. So Thoughtseize is one of the interesting ones, like you mentioned, the Lorwyn art. So there's a couple interesting things here. For one, that Theros art, rest in peace, I guess, because it's just going to die, right, in comparison. It's fallen off a cliff from what it was. It topped out over 20. It's down to 15 and falling. But now everyone's going to be able, for the same price, to get the good art. So
the original Theros art might go down to 10 in the short term, but I don't think this particular art ever goes below like 14, 15.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot here with a hard question. What happens to the foil price from the original? Because the original foil it got bought out for a minute, and they just were down on the internet. But now it's basically $500 for the. What do you think happens there? Because people thought we weren't going to get that original art back, but now we are. So what do you think happens to the foil on it?
I think it stays around the same.
Okay, you don't think the original Lorwyn foil will move, even though it's getting new art?
Nobody who's spending like $400 on the first foil Lorwyn Thoughtseize is like going to settle for iconic Masters foil Thoughtseize for the other three.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like if you look at stuff like Jace the Mind Sculptor World Lake foil, like stuff like that is just iconic forever. Like Jace the Mind Sculptor World Lake foil is still like
ironically not in iconic Masters.
No. But like. Yeah, it is one of the more iconic cards in the game, but like, you can't just replace World Wake foil with Eternal Masters foil.
Well, you say that though. The World Wake foil has actually just been steadily dropping for Jace.
What is it?
The median on it right now is just under 300, and these were $500 for a long time, and it is a very steady decline over the past few years. Now we can attribute that to a lot of things, right? Jace has gotten a lot worse in Legacy. It's basically only in 1 or 2 decks now, as like a 2 of. I mean, there's a lot we can talk about there, and it got the.
I still don't think that
FTV
Thoughtseize experiences immediate drop. It might experience that like 2-year progression where it goes down by 100 or so, but like it's definitely not going to fall off a cliff.
Okay, yeah, it's also worth noting, like with Jace, the From the Vault one started out at 100, and it's down to 65. The Eternal Masters one,
I don't think that
65, and it was. It's been more or less constant, but. It started out a little higher too, so that price on Jace may be moving in line with the average price, not necessarily its own isolated thing. All right,
and enough. Like if foil Lorwyn Thoughtseize experiences a similar steady decline, I think it's the result of like the effects of the buyout not really working versus like people dumping their Lorwyn foils for like iconic Masters foils.
Right. Okay. So let's. I'm gonna hit you with some one thing we haven't talked about yet, which is actual casual cards. Avacyn, Elish Norn.
This is the entire reason. This is the point. Like if you survived through that garbage the past 7 minutes or whatever, this is the real finance info.
Right. So let's talk about it. The ones I'm highlighting here at the top are Avacyn, Elish Norn.
This isn't casual garbage. I thought you were going to bring me to, like, Fog Bank, Blizzard,
No.
Spectre,
You got to give me a minute. No. We'll get there in a second.
Stuff.
But no. Vorinclex, Glimpse the Unthinkable, Archangel of Thune. I think those are the next in line as most expensive. You can throw Shieldred in there as well. Those are cards that, especially Glimpse, right, have prices propped up by Commander and casual play. And I'm pretty bullish on these, not in the short term, right? But these are the cards I can't wait to buy in a month.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. This is the stuff that competitive players are going to throw aside. Paul Feudo did a really good take on this an episode a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But he was talking about how like we're going to be able stores like us are going to be able to buy Coca Show at $3, Glimpse the Unthinkable at like $4 or $5. Like it's going to be wonderful. And then like we'll also see a quick return, so we'll be able to buy Glimpse at 3 or 4, flip it for 5 or 6, whatever, to anybody who's waiting for a reprint. But this is also the stuff that we're perfectly content to buy and then have sit in our case. Because it'll accumulate over time. So it's a win-win. It's not like we have to buy Mana Drain at 40 and then flip it before it goes down any further. This is the stuff where it's like, I am happy to buy stuff like Jin-Gitaxias, Kokusho, Archangel of Thune at their very low, when all those competitive players are like, oh, I opened an Archangel of Thune, I wanted a Thoughtseize or whatever. So
right,
like,
and we've seen exactly what happened. Elish Norn's a great example, because before it got reprinted, Elish Norn was $33 to $35. It got reprinted, the original dropped down to about $15. It got halved. But then it popped back up to 30 after that. So there's definitely, we can see the track record here. So all right, we know what's going to happen with those. I think the same probably applies to Consecrated Sphinx in that commander group. Another one I do want to highlight as being a Future Sight card that was expensive due to printing and is going to fall off a cliff is Magus of the Moon. I think that card's dead. I think our Auriok Champion is dead.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Auriok Champion, Sarah Ascendant.
Sarah Ascendant at least has commander play going for it.
A little bit. I mean, I think Saracen has about the same much commander play as like Magus of the Moon.
Nah, I don't know. We actually don't have Jason here to tell us to immediately pull it up, but regardless, I think those are going to fare much worse. All right, so hit me with the couple uncommons or commons you want to mention here before we get out of here.
Oh, there's not enough time to mention all those.
Give me the
I think we come back with another Brain Bites next week.
All right, fair enough.
And we focus on iconic masters. None of this garbage rares or whatever.
Yeah.
But I can spend an extra like 45 minutes talking about Fog Bank, Blizzard Spectre, Assault Formation, Inspiring Call.
Yeah, there's a bunch of good stuff, huh?
we can't give them it all at once. We got to have them tune in next week for the.
Fair enough. All right. Well, yeah. Let us know what you guys think of this segment. Let us know what the good name for it is. Let us know if you enjoy it. We obviously want to make some content for the channel that isn't just talking about isn't just the newest podcast, right? So we want to do some stuff like this. Let us know what you want to see. Let us know what you think. Remember to like this and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy it. So everybody, thank you for watching. This is Brainstorm Brewery, and we will see you next time.
You know, I gotta get used to being on a webcam so I can drink my water with the label facing outward.
That's good, man. Get that. You got to get that sponsorship.
Yeah,
going. That's an important skill.
I gotta get like the YouTube algorithms to recognize the Dasani label, and then
and then try to get Dasani on our.
Yeah, they'll get like an email notification about it, and then we'll go from there.
That reminds me of the Squatty Potty. I'm on it. Thanks for watching, everybody.